On this episode, how not to go to jail over a roof. This real estate stuff is not easy, so send me your questions and I will answer them. This is the Ask Jason Show. Hello everybody, my name is Jason Piercey and this is episode 116, which is kind of a lot, of the Ask Jason Show. We are talking today about... What are we talking about? Okay, so I want to clear up some confusion about some stuff here. So, I also like HGTV. I like watching all these shows about renovations and buying houses and selling houses and all of this stuff where they talk about the negotiation and people are excited, and there's a bunch of them. They're even on Netflix. I like all of these real estate shows too. I really do. They're entertaining. Let's talk about reality just for a sec. We live, if you're here where I am, I don't know, I should look into that. How many people watch this show that aren't in Newfoundland? Because there are some. There are realtors I know who are watching now who are in other areas of Canada and even the United States. But anyway, in Canada, the Real Estate Trading Act, which is the law that governs how people can buy and sell houses, is provincially legislated. So every province has its own rules. I imagine in the States, every state has their own rules. Sometimes each county has their own rules within a state. And like, these are all things. So then the federal government monitors the law around mortgage financing and the banks and all like that. These are all, very important things. And then our neighbors to the south, down in the United States, there are a lot of them. There are a lot of people down there in a whole bunch of places with a whole bunch of different laws and a whole bunch of different rules and a whole bunch of different production businesses that make TV shows about real estate. So they exist all over the place. For instance, there's like 8 different $1 million listing shows, and like they're all in different places, and all those different places have different rules and different laws, and like that's a thing. So when you watch all of these shows that are produced in different places where the rules are different and the laws are different and they're a bit sensationalized and sometimes even full-on scripted, that's for entertainment value. And then you watch that and you learn how a real estate process goes from watching that and having fun with it and being entertained. And then you want to put that into practice wherever your local market is. But you see, the thing is, that's not always possible just because it can be illegal. Like, there's certain things that we just can't and don't do here. Like, for instance, let's say that you buy a house and you agree on a purchase price. And then you do your home inspection and you find out that you need a new roof, okay? Or you need the roof to be reshingled. And that's gonna cost you $7,500. You got a quote, everybody knows that that's the case. In our local market, there's a couple of options here. You and the purchaser and the vendor can agree to either the vendor fixes the roof, doesn't change the price, deducts from the purchase price whatever the value is to compensate for it, or somewhere between those two things, or everybody just walks away. Oftentimes, people will say, okay, well, let's not change the price. The bank will still, lend me that amount of money, and then I'll give it to you and the house is mine and you cash it back to me. So I have the $7,500 and that I can use to buy, to buy the service to repair the roof. The problem with that is, even though I know it's so intuitive, it makes so much sense to think about it that way, because you're spending the same amount of money on a house that has the roof done. You're just doing the roof with the mortgage money after the mortgage closes. The problem here is that that's called mortgage fraud. You can't do that. You can't borrow money from the bank to mortgage a house and then give it to the person selling you the house and then them give you back a bunch of it for whatever you want to do with it. It's not even gray. It's not like people talk about black and white and gray. This is very, very much black and white. That's just full on illegal. That's mortgage fraud. You will be charged, and that is an offense. That's not a cool thing. That's a criminal thing. Even if you and the seller are like, yeah, I'm fine with that. That's cool, because I get it. It does make sense. It seems like the easiest way to do it. Maybe you're closing in 2 weeks and there's not enough time for the person who's selling the house to get a roofer to come in and do it because it's busy, or maybe the shingles they want aren't in stock because nothing is in stock right now. Then maybe that's the problem. I understand, but cashing money back is not the way to go about it. And even if you and the seller are on side, and you got a real sneaky, snaky, dishonest, unethical lawyer who's also on side, when that paperwork goes to the bank to advance the funds, the bank is going to be like, no, we're not doing that. So they're just going to send $7,500 less. Like, it's not a thing. But we see stuff like this on TV and we think that it's possible. And in some places, it probably is possible. This ain't one of those places. So if you're trying to have that conversation with an agent and you're saying, okay, well, can we write in the offer that the seller has to pay for our closing costs? Because the property brothers do that. No, you can't, because that's not a thing here. Because in order to qualify for a mortgage under our federal law, you need to show a 90-day history of where the funds you're using for your down payment and your closing cost, so to register your mortgage, to register your deed, to pay for your lawyer, all of those things. You need to show a 90-day history of where that money came from. And if the seller pays for your closing costs, that's basically them just cashing you back money from the money you borrowed from the bank to give to them for the house. It's the same thing as giving you money to fix the roof after closing, like we talked about before. It's not legal when we can't do it here. So if you're ever pissed off at your agent because they won't do the clever little tricky thing you saw on TV, it's probably not because they don't want to. I would love to be able to do that stuff. It would make your life easier. It would make my life easier, up until the point we all ended up in jail. So, risk reward, is it worth it? No. But still keep watching all those shows because they're fun and they're entertaining and they're so dramatic. Oh my God, they're so dramatic. Anyway, that's all that I have to say today. That's it, right? Yeah? That's it. Yeah. What do you know anyway? We'll see you next time. The Ask Jason Show exists so that you can get good real estate related information from a resource that you can trust. Now, speaking of resources you can trust, here's a couple I would trust to work with my mom. Because good enough for mom, I mean, good enough for you.